Hello and welcome to the Marine Channel, and today we're going to jump on board this, which is a Fountaine Pajot 41. It's a new model. It replaces the Isla 40, which is the previous model. It's still the same length. There's a bit more beam on this, and there's quite a few changes which are worth pointing out. I do love a catamaran. I do love the space that this configuration gives you. In terms of price, let's talk about that now. 409,000 euros plus VAT is the starting price. This one comes out about 565 plus VAT, but of course it's all about the spec that you want. So we'll start here with the high-low platform. So that'll take about 250 kilos, which translates into something like a 3.4 metre tender with a 20 horsepower on board. Let's step aboard here. And let's go up the front actually, let's go to the bow. Again, one of the things that I love about catamarans is all the space. You've got a massive beam on this boat. So, well, it's 11.93 metres long, but the beam on this boat, 6.92 metres. And that's the kind of beam you'd expect to see on, if it was a monohull, something like a 65 footer. So when we're up the front here, we've got all these cushions. We're going to have a little demo here because this is really impressive. Look at this storage in here. How massive is that lazarette? Now that'd be a crew cabin on most boats. And we've got a similar kind of configuration over here. Slightly less room on the starboard side. That's because of the tanks in there. But absolutely huge. And then we've got our deck handling gear here. And then if we go right the way across, this is actually mirrored on both sides. So again, we've got enormous storage down there. Hopefully the camera will work out the light. We've got that on the starboard and the port side. So if you're thinking about kind of long-term cruising, that is just spectacular. And obviously when that's all shut down, that's a nice big sun pad. Just talk about the coach roof here, because obviously it's a big old area, and what we're seeing in the marine industry is like we're seeing with the automotive industry, more and more kind of electrification. So there is an option on this boat to replace the diesel engines, have electric motors, and then this area can be fit out with solar panels, 2000 watts, which top the lithium ion batteries up. And there is also a generator that was then fitted, so you can run the generator and top up as well should you need it. But fundamentally you can cruise at 8 knots for about 5 hours on the lithium ion batteries. So I'll show you the helm while we're up here. There's two ways to come to the helm, as we have done around the boat, or there's an internal staircase. So we just step through here. So all our lines come here for operation, and then we've got a couple of steps up there, up onto that sun pad we saw, and then we've got sort of a twin helm seat, lounger, call it what you will, and all our switch gear or displays. It's all electronic nowadays, of course. Switch is a thing of the past. But if you like to sit somewhere quiet, have a reflective moment as the skipper, this is not a bad old place to be, is it? Very nice. Okay, I'm going to return to the kind of cockpit area. We'll do it on the outside. We'll just talk about engine installation. So, as I said, you can have this boat with electric motors, but this particular one is fitted with a more traditional diesel power. So access to your diesel engines in both hulls are there, and this has got Yamaha 40 horsepowers with sail drive and the what they call integral alternator, which is a very powerful alternator and will charge your lithium batteries up and do all that kind of good stuff. There we are. So if we look at the cockpit area, again, this is one of the changes on this new 41, because they kind of pushed the cockpit out a little bit wider. Then you can see this bench wasn't there wasn't enough space previously, but it is there now. So you've got this nice fixed bench. That's got storage underneath there as well. This rear one here, that's also got storage. And there is the option as well to have this table that will drop down and have infill cushions there. So that can become a massive kind of lounging area, which is very, very nice. You'll see also the covers. So this has got one cover in place. If we swing around, the back is all open at the moment. And they'll just drop down. So zipped up at the minute, or rolled up at the moment. And then first of our fridges. There's several fridges on board to keep our refreshments cool. And then what we'll do is we'll move into the sort of galley area. Again, one of the changes on this, on the previous boat, didn't have this sort of central island. And it works really nicely. So you've got your kitchen over here on the port side, and then you've got your sort of central island here, which is great for just having a natter and a drink. And then we've got big refrigerated drawers here as well, with everybody's lunch in there, so I won't pry too much because I'll get hungry. And then we've got this additional lounging area here. Interestingly, what you can have, this has got the sort of low coffee table. You can also have a sort of dining table in there, which can be up and down. And when it's in the low position, again, you can use infill cushions and you can make that into a sort of day bed type thing. Great visibility here all the way around. And this window at the front here opens up for a little bit of fresh air, and also barking instructions to crew should you need to do it. But the effect on a cat of all this beam is just to make it feel such a lovely, relaxed kind of environment to spend time in. Now this one is set up as a 3-cabin configuration, so we'll go down to the starboard side first of all. This has got our 2 cabins, and it's got the heads in the middle, so it's a shared heads. So straight down the steps there, and then looking towards the front, that's where our shower is, our shower stall. Got our sink there, and then round the corner is where our loo is. So that's shared by our Ford double. And then you can see at the head of the bed you've got this kind of emergency hatch, access through to that big lazarette that we talked about in the in the front hull. Some people are tapping away at that. That's in there. And then good natural light. In fact, they're going to open it. There you go. It does work. And then if we swing back round and then to the aft, we've got, I guess, our VIP, which obviously the hull kind of flares out here. That's another point actually. One of the things that this hull does, if you look down here, you can perhaps see it's sort of diagonal. On the previous boat that came up, and therefore this cabin was more restricted. So there is more width, internal width, if you like, in this aft cabin than there would have been on the previous model. And it's rather clever because they kind of offset it slightly, which means you get even more space. So that's the kind of guest accommodation. Lots of, hanging lockers and storage and all that kind of good stuff, as you'd expect. But let's just pop over to the owner's accommodation, and this takes up the whole of the port side. So private staircase, so it feels nice and private. And then you've got this kind of lovely lobby area, really, dressing room area. You've got a little work desk, makeup desk, and then your raised island berth. And again, you can see the effect of having this kind of offset, and the effect of having this extra width here in the hull. Above the waterline, importantly, so that's not going to affect drag. If you're a sailor, yes, it's a slightly heavier boat than the outgoing model, but they've increased the mast height and the sail square meterage. So performance on this is just as sparkling as on the previous model. And then the other thing you've got is lots and lots and lots of locker space down here, all the way along there. And then keep going forward, and this is our master private ensuite. Loo ahead, there we go, and it's behind that wall that we've got that hull lazarette as it were. Yeah, and then swing around here and we've got our kind of double shower and a bit of natural light up here as well as from the side. So there you go. Very impressive. And all of this in a 41-foot boat. That is the joy of catamarans. I think I'm going to stay down here actually. It's got to that time of day where I could do with a little snooze. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed the tour. Please comment, like, share, do all that kind of good stuff. But most importantly, please keep coming back for more, because that's why we do it at the Marine Channel. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.